Hi there, I'm Jess Dang, the Chief Kitchen Cheerleader at Cook Smarts, and you are watching another episode of Dear Cook Smarts, where we answer your cooking questions so that you can live happier in the kitchen. Today, we're answering the question, how do I raise healthy eaters? We've got lots of ideas on how to answer this question, and this video is just part one of our answer. So we think the number one way to raise healthy eaters is to create lots of opportunities for them to participate in the kitchen. Think about it. The reason most of us love cookies and desserts is because, well, yes, sugar is addictive, but also because we have such great memories of baking cookies, filling pies, and frosting cakes with our parents. When we take a bite of a cookie, we're not just getting a high off the sugar, we're also getting a high off the comforting memories that cookie fills us with. I believe we can do the same thing for the foods that we should be eating most of the time, like vegetables, lean proteins, and whole grains. I bet you kids who are wary of fish may just give it a try if they got to fold their fish up in parchment paper and then watch their packets of fish puff up in the oven. It's all about including them in the process, and also might take some smart marketing from you, like maybe calling that fish sea chicken for a while. Sometimes it's not always clear how to include kids in the kitchen, but there are activities for kids at every age. We've come up with a variety of ideas, and you'll see this age participation guide for each activity. Clearly, the older they get, the more they can do, but even toddlers can participate, as you'll see in our first activity. Our first category of activities is about sharing your cooking knowledge with kids and creating a dialogue around food. One very simple thing to start with is to introduce them to the names of different ingredients. Trips to the market can become teaching opportunities. If you prefer to leave your kids at home, then use unloading your groceries as a good time to share what you purchased. Produce can also be a great tool for teaching colors and simple counting and arithmetic too. And just like you might purchase ABC magnets for the refrigerator, considering buying some food magnets as a teaching opportunity as well. The earlier you start, the better, but honestly, any time is good. Another idea to create a food dialogue is, of course, to discuss the meal over the dinner table. If you've made the effort of making a meal, then it's worth sitting down to enjoy it and discuss it. This is a good time to give kids a food vocabulary, teaching them about sweet, salty, sour, and even spicy tastes, crunchy and tender textures. Another way to share cooking knowledge is, of course, to brainstorm meal ideas together. This is just a great time to allow kids to provide input into their dinners, and also for you to introduce some new ingredients. And maybe there's definitely some ways too where they can pick some of their favorite ingredients, and you can pick some of your favorite ingredients and brainstorm what you can make together with those ingredients. The food dialogue can, of course, be continued by asking your kids to taste things during the cooking process. It'll allow you to learn more about what your kids like and, of course, make them feel like their opinions count. Plus, younger kids love it when you give them important responsibilities, like making sure that dinner tastes good. If you're working with very young kids, I suggest you control the seasoning and just let them tell you when. One other great way to impart cooking knowledge is to grow a garden. Kids that have access to a garden at home or at school have an even deeper connection to the food that they eat, since they can learn about how food grows as well as how food gets cooked. Older kids can be given the responsibility of watering and picking the bounty, which teaches them that growing food takes work and resources. Even if you just have a small apartment, you can still do something. I grew up in a teeny apartment, but my grandmother always kept a few small pots of chili peppers and herbs on our balcony. And it's not necessarily about quantity, but just providing kids with an understanding of how food is produced. Our next bucket of activities is all about improving those arithmetic skills. I already mentioned before that fruits and veggies are a great way to teach counting, but we can do even more. Measuring cups and spoons provide good tools for lessons on fractions. Younger kids can work with pre-measured out ingredients, and you can explain what a quarter cup of panko or a half tablespoon of soy sauce means. For slightly older kids, like those in the 4 to 8 age range, ask them to measure out ingredients out on their own, and kids 8 and up can be asked to do even more, like scale and adjust measurements. Clearly, if your kids are arithmetic superstars, they can get started on these stages even sooner. The next set of activities focuses on teaching kids how to use different kitchen tools and appliances. This might seem scary for some parents, but your toddlers have already been playing with electronic toys and iPads, I bet you already. It won't take them that much more to feel comfortable around kitchen items. So clearly younger kids will need some supervision, and I was a bit generous with this age bar. So an 8-year-old who can kick a soccer ball can likely work a salad spinner on his own. But just, clearly be more cautious of items with blades. But all the items listed here, salad spinners, food processors, and blenders, have big old buttons. You know that young kids cannot resist pressing big old buttons that make noise, as you probably know from all those musical toys you own. And by 12 and up, they can pretty much operate most things on their own, especially if you started them early and got them comfortable. So of course you want to raise healthy eaters, but the bonus of getting kids involved in the kitchen is that you'll be raising healthy eaters and also be creating great sous chefs that can help you more and more as they grow up. In this next section, I'll share how kids of all ages can help with prepping and chopping. Even if you're not ready for your child to wield a knife, they can help with tearing greens pretty much at any age. You can even give a few pieces of leaves to your toddler in their high chair to work with. You might not get, perfect lettuce pieces, but you'll get some shreds. And again, it's all about exposure. For kids that have started using scissors, they can also use those in the kitchen to trim green beans or snow peas and slice easy to slice ingredients like bell peppers. Plus, this is a great way to work on those motor skills. If you're ready to let your kid use a knife, and maybe not a big old adult chef's knife that may be unwieldy in smaller hands, you can try purchasing kids' knives. Curious Chef is a brand that's popular among our community, and they make kitchen tools for kids. And you can buy them on Amazon, and if you're watching this on our site, Vimeo, or YouTube, I've put the link below for you to check out. When your kids are ready to graduate out of the kids' knife, they can start using a regular knife, but I'd start them out still with chopping only easy to chop ingredients like tomatoes, zucchini, eggplant, produce that's relatively soft and not too unwieldy. And as they get more comfortable or older, that's when you can stick them with the butternut squash. Regardless of age though, make sure you teach them our basic knife skills that promote safety. We have a whole video on that, and again, I'll link to it below, or you can search for basic knife skills on our site at www.cooksmarts.com. Our all-in-one produce prep guide is also a great place to point your kids. We have a ton of prep videos there that have fun music and are short for kids' attention spans to teach them, and also you, how to properly prep a wide variety of common fruits and vegetables. And if you're a meal plan subscriber, you already know this. These videos are directly linked within our recipe steps, and you can just pop them up when you're prepping dinner. We've had several parents tell us that their kids have watched every single one of our videos at least 5 times each, which is incredibly heartwarming to hear. Our last section covers cooking activities, and honestly, some of the previous ideas could also work well here, but please forgive me if you think we didn't categorize everything perfectly. One task for everyone is clearly assembly. If you're a stay-at-home mom, you can get everything prepped up while your kids are at school, and then you have them be responsible for putting together part when they return home from school. So there's still something for them to do. Of course, there are also assignments like stirring and shaking. What kid doesn't love a shake and bake after all? Another good cooking role, and one that I had as a kid, was always to season and tenderize proteins with a fork. My mom would shake on the seasoning, and I would take my tenderizing job pretty seriously, making sure to create lots of pores in the protein for maximum flavor absorption. As a result, there was never bland meat at our house. Having a salad with every meal is also a good healthy habit, and one of your kids can be the salad dressing maker. Again, if your kids are busy with after-school activities, this is a relatively simple and quick task to give them something to do so they can still have some ownership of dinner. And some of you may even want to assign a whole part of dinner to your kids, or one dinner a week to your kids. There was a great New York Times article a few years back where this mom shared how her 2 sons were responsible for coming up with and cooking one dinner a week. And she got to sip wine while her 10 and 14-year-old cooked once a week. Now that sounds like my kind of mom, and I bet you her boys are not going to have any trouble finding partners when they grow up. So in addition to finding a spouse, there are many reasons to include kids in the kitchen. Providing them with exposure and the skills to make good food is the best way to raise healthy eaters. I know that you and your kids are busy people. In fact, I think the average high school kid is probably busier than I am, with after-school sports, test prep, homework. But you have to believe that the skills and knowledge they'll build in the kitchen will be just as valuable to their success and well-being in the future. I am sure there are many more activities, and we'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're watching this on YouTube or Vimeo, leave comments below on how you've found ways to include your kids in the kitchen and raise them to be healthy eaters. As always, remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel. If you think we're creating really great cooking information, please help us spread the word by sharing it on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. And if you want even more great cooking info to help you live smarter in the kitchen, get over to our website, www.cooksmarts.com, and sign up for our weekly newsletter. At Cooksmarts, we believe that everyone can become a kitchen hero. We can't wait to help you get cooking, because a healthier and happier life in the kitchen is waiting for you.